So Microsoft front page, it is a, what you see is what you get editor. It will be containing several dialog boxes which will be simplifying the task of adding graphics, Java applets, ActiveX controls and Microsoft version of DHTML. All these things can be easily done using Microsoft front page. And from the window you can get most of the features. I don't know whether they are very much clearly visible or not, but using that you can do most of the things. See, after looking to the HTML editors, we should think about the server organization, how to organize a website, what are the structure of services provided on the website, how to manage your files on the website, and different server management tasks. There are different set of services in the structure of services. There are FTP, HTTP, Telnet, Wide Area Information Service, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, and Gopher. Let us start with FTP. FTP is nothing but it is a file transfer protocol. Using FTP, you can transfer all of your files. This is very much important feature when you are uploading your files to this server. And one famous FTP application is Qt FTP, with the help of which you can log into the server, enter your username, enter your password, and then you will be uploading all your files to the server. Using this particular FTP service, you can also download all your files which are on the server to your particular computer. You can update them and you can immediately upload them. The process of connecting is, as I said, entering username and password, and after that the connection will be confirmed. If it is taking too much time for connection, then it will be saying connection timed out. But usually most of the times FTP is very much reliable, and you can use any FTP application. It can be a Qt FTP application or any other FTP application on the Unix or Windows NT side or any other server software side to upload all your information to the server. And then comes HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This is the most famous protocol which you are using every day. You are having two types of servers at present also. One is FTP server, the other is HTTP server. FTP server is used to just transfer files. Let us say you want to download Java software from the internet. Then when you are deciding on the type of server, better you choose FTP server. The reason is this server is used only to transfer the files from one place to the another place. Whereas HTTP server is concerned, there you will be having the content which is displayed in HTML on the website, as well as all the software that can be transferred from the server to the client side. So in the case of HTTP, the load is more, but as of FTP, it is very much dedicated that using FTP you can very much easily transfer all of your files, as well as you can download heavy softwares like Java, like which are occupying a lot of memory directly from the server. Then comes Telnet. See, Telnet is one more very important application with the help of which you can be in touch with your account around the clock. Let us say you have account in the California University's network. Then you can log in to that particular network from anywhere in the world through the internet. The only thing is you have to just run the Telnet application. When you run the Telnet application, what happens is you need to give your particular server ID, that is the server ID of the network in which you are having account. And after that it will be asking for your username and password. Once you give that, you are just logged into that network. At present you are in that network. Once you are in the network, you can just imagine that you are in your California University and you can just go through all the files as if you are sitting there. This is very important application. And Telnet is also used for uploading files. You can use it for uploading files also. Like you want to upload your information to the particular network, then first you have to use the Telnet and then you have to use the softwares for uploading. Then comes Wide Area Information Service. So Wide Area Information Service is nothing but allowing you to search the internet, etc. Like the site need to maintain a lot of information which is catering to wide areas. Like it is not dedicated only to the field of education or field of sports, etc. It should contain information about almost all the aspects, so that one can search through the information or one can browse through the information. Searching is only one example of Wide Area Information Service. Apart from that, there are a lot of things. Wherever a lot of information is used to give the results, there we say that Wide Area Information Service is being used. Then comes Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. In the case of Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, it is nothing but it is a protocol that is used to send email messages from one point to another point. This is a protocol used whenever you send an email to your friends. Then comes Gopher. Gopher is also a protocol which is used to provide such services. See, let us discuss this Hypertext Transfer Protocol in detail. Hypertext Transfer Protocol, it is an application level protocol. It will be having a request and response paradigm. That is, the user will be sending some information and then it will be received on the server side. Once it is received on the server side, it is decoded. When you are sending information to the server through the website, what happens is several headers are appended to your particular information. They are called request headers. Like you are requesting for information, they will be going to the other side, and there those headers will be read, and then your data will be understood based on the headers. Then there will be a response. So in the request response paradigm, you will be using a request resource type, uniform resource identifier, protocol version, and MIME. When we are speaking of MIME, it is nothing but a multi-purpose internet mail extensions. Multi-purpose internet mail extension is nothing but it is a protocol that has to be adopted by each and everyone who is sending email or whoever is allowing the people to send emails, like Hotmail, USA, etc. All these people provide several email services. They should all conform to the MIME, that is multi-purpose internet mail extensions. In this, MIME says that an email message can contain video, can contain audio, it can contain text. It should be able to support attachments of Microsoft Word, etc., etc. There are a lot of rules for that. Like whenever email message is being sent, you should be able to do all those things. Only when you are able to do all those things, we say that it is supported by MIME. Then comes response success or error code, server information, and entity meta information. Suppose that you go to a site and the server is down on the other side. Then you will be getting a code number along with the message saying that the server is down. Suppose that you are going to a URL subdirectory for which you are not authorized, then it says access denied, or it may ask you for a username or a password. And similarly, suppose that you are sending some data to your website. When you are sending data to the website, the data will be taken, it will be decoded, and the response will be sent. Once the response is sent, there will be a web page giving the result. And after this result is displayed, suppose that you go to another page and then try to come back to this page, then it might be saying that, sorry, the information has been output on the basis of the data that has been received by the server. Once the data is received and once the response is sent, the response will not be sent just by going back to that particular web page. Under such circumstances, you need to enter data once again. Then once HTTP, it also supports FTP, Telnet, Wide Application Information Service, as well as Gopher and SMTP services. So Hypertext Transfer Protocol, it is the most popularly used protocol. Sometimes you will be seeing FTP : some URL. That is an FTP site. Like from there you can download information. It hosts a lot of information. But in most of the cases you will be using HTTP. Because it is supporting FTP, it is supporting Telnet, it is supporting Gopher, supporting Wide Area Information Service and Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. There were also built-in ways to create and delete directories and files. And you can do this again by using FTP. So let us once again speak about Telnet. Telnet is used to log in to the remote machine. So wherever you are, you can log into your computer to the Telnet application. For this you need to have a client program. One famous client program is QtFTP. You can be using, and it is a free software that is available on the websites. You can go to any website which is having that download facility, and you can download the QtFTP software, and then you can, once you get the QtFTP, you can upload the information. And apart from this, using Telnet facility means again you will be having separate Telnet software for that. The Telnet application has to be executed to connect to the remote machine. So in this way, your client machine should also contain software to use the facility of Telnet. Network Virtual Terminal, standardized way to represent a terminal. It means that things are virtual. That is, it is not real, but it seems to be real. Like Telnet. You are connecting to your network from some other part in the world. So definitely you are not in real time in the network. At the same time, you are in the network from somewhere else. You are doing whatever the other person can do when he is in that particular network without entering the server ID, etc. So the services are very much equal. That is why it is called Network Virtual Terminal. Shell account access with user ID and password. Public access for services like library catalog. Again, public access for services like library catalog in the mean sense, it just means that whenever you are hosting your website, you should think of what can be accessed publicly, what can be accessed only by the employees of the organization, what can be accessed by particular category of visitors, etc. But things like libraries, catalogs, etc. should be able to be viewed by anyone. That is what is meant by public access. Now comes Wide Area Information Service. Previously I spoke about the Wide Area Information Service, but here you can you can get information in more descriptive manner. One is Wide Area Information System. It is used for searching documents on the internet. It is used for the searching keywords. There is client program available in the public domain. You can be using that particular program to search for documents on the net, to search for keywords, and also handle different types of data, ASCII, GIF, TIFF, mail digest, etc. All these are different formats. Like ASCII is nothing but it is the text format, GIF is nothing but it is the image format, and TIFF is also an image format, and then mail digest, it is something like to email, etc. When you are thinking of the Wide Area Information Service, there are two types. One is documents, the other is indexes of the documents. you might be mistaken when you are thinking that when you enter some string in yahoo.com for searching, it will be searching through the internet. But it is not really searching through the internet. Basically, it is going through all the directories which are built in that particular server. So whenever you have a particular website, you can include the entry into the Yahoo directory. So once you included the information in the Yahoo directory, and suppose that someone is searching for that particular keyword, the Yahoo will be searching that particular directory and it will be outputting the URL of your site. But it is not that it is getting the information from different internet connections and it is giving you. It takes a lot of time. So when it is storing information and when it is giving to you, it cannot just go for a sequential search. Going for sequential search means that consuming a lot of time. So basically the information will be indexed. After the information is indexed, the search will be using the index file. Once the index file is found, it will be going to the document and then it will be outputting the information. So let us go to the next slide. That is voice search interface. See, this is the interface for search, and there you can enter your query, then you can say tell me about, and you can click on the search button, or else you can delete this particular information or you can add information, and then at the downwards you are seeing the resulting documents. Like when you click on the search, it will be searching the directories, and then once it found the index, it will be finding the documents, and then it will be listing the documents in the documents found section. Once it lists all the documents there, you can use any of them again to go to their parent sites. In this way you can use this particular software for searching. But nowadays you have Yahoo, etc. for better search capabilities. Then comes simple mail transfer protocol, transferring email over the internet. Whenever email is being sent, this protocol is used. Each and every email is having this particular transport agent which will be linking your email to the outside world. So when you are sending a message, it is using this protocol. When you are receiving the message also, this protocol is being used. Then comes Gopher. Gopher, it is a tool used for surfing the internet. Not nowadays, but previously. It is the original tool for surfing the internet. And it is a text-based tool. It is not a graphics-based tool. So things are totally based on the text. They are not based on the graphics. So once an image is there, it cannot show you that image. It can only show the text. Then it is based on the hierarchy of menus and sub-menus. So basically you can think of some software like DBase, FoxPro, etc. where you are having a lot of menus. When you go to a menu, you will be getting another menu. Just choose the menus, and once the menu of your interest comes, you click on that, a window will be displayed, enter the data, then you will be getting the information. This is the type of tool which we are talking about. It's nothing but Gopher. Then system administration of Gopher is similar to setting up logical and well-named directories. So the administration of Gopher, it is not going to be a new thing. It is similar to the setting up of directories as well as naming the directories. Just now I told you about DBase. Of course, when you are going to your Microsoft Word, wherever you go, almost all the systems, though they support GUIs, they are also menu based. So here it is not GUI based, but it is menu based. The interface of Gopher is as follows. You can see the slide here. This is how the Gopher interface is there. So here Gopher is also a protocol which can be used to go to the Gopher menu and choose the information about Gopher, computer information, discussion groups, fun and games, etc. And once you click on any of those URLs, you will be getting the websites or other documents listed on the site, with the help of which you can get information. Then let us briefly speak about the file management. There are two types of files. There are text files and binary files. Apart from this, the most important thing is about the file compression. There are different compression techniques. But these compression techniques are usually used in the case of audio video files. In the case of text files also, it is also used like zipping the information. Suppose that you have a very large file, then you will be zipping it and you will be sending it. The other person on the other side will be unzipping it. And for this you can use WinZip software, PKZip, etc. These are nothing but their compression techniques. They will be compressing on the one side and they will be used to decompress on the other side. In the case of images, the compression techniques are different. One technique is GIF, the other is JPEG. You might be wondering how come these techniques are compression techniques, but they are. That is the reason why we say GIF format, why we say JPEG format. Like GIF supports millions of colors. JPEG doesn't support that many number of colors, but at the same time clarity is very high. In the GIF, support for colors is more, but clarity is less. So depends on the particular format, which I can say also a compression technique being used by you. So when you are using a GIF, when you download the image, the time taken is different from when you store the same image in the JPEG format and when you are downloading. Suppose that you store an image in the BMP format, then again it is different, which is a bitmap format. The test is very simple. Just take an image, save it as a BMP file, save it as a JPEG file, save it as a GIF file, and just see how much storage they are occupying. You will find that JPEG and GIF occupy very less space when compared to the BMP. That is why we use GIF and JPEG on the websites rather than using BMP directly. Of course, even if you use BMP, the extension automatically becomes a GIF or JPEG when you are loading it on the browser. Then archiving the number of files in a single file. It is nothing but it is the zip technique which we are using to compress the files into a single file, again decompress them on the server, on the client side. So you can use WinZip on one side to zip them, and the other side also can use WinZip or any other software to unzip them. In this way the storage becomes less and the transfer is very fast. Linking files to other sites. Suppose that you have a file and you want to use an anchor, like let us say when someone goes to a particular word in the file and clicks on that, suppose that you want to go to another site, you can do that using the anchor keyword. These links helps to tie together resources from other machines even outside the local network. For this you are using the anchor element, angular brackets A, in HTML. It helps in specifying sections of the text or graphic elements as links. You can also use href element in the anchor. When you are using href element, it becomes an hyperlink reference. Like when you say a href is equal to something, it means that it is a link from this particular file to something else. It is HTML definitely. It might be a site, it might be a website, or it might be another HTML file on your own machine. When you are having slides one after another, you can link them using this hyperlink. So that is one option of linking files to other sites. Organizing the website. See, you can organize website in different ways, but the most common ways are you need to start with a new folder. Like when you have a service provider to host your information on his server, he will be creating a separate new folder to you, and then you will be putting all your files in that, and there will be password and username to access that particular directory, and you can use those techniques, like you can enter username and password and go to that particular directory, open the directory and delete information, insert information, browse information, you can do anything, and you should be able to keep the backup. So all these points are very much important when you are organizing the website. Keeping similar type of files under one directory, like images, all the GIF files, JPEG files, BMP files in one directory, all TXT files in one directory, all HTML files in one directory. In this way you can have all one type of files under one directory, or you can also think of having one type of functionality files in one directory. Like let us say all the files related to administration in one directory, all the files related to finance in one directory. So in this way you have to decide when you are organizing the website. It makes writing programs very much easier as well as maintaining also. The other is consistency. That is, you should be able to write programs so that there is no problem of getting different information when you go through different way. That is, there should be no duplication. Consistency means redundancy should be avoided. Once redundancy is avoided, consistency is maintained. The final thing is updating. Now updating, you can do it in real time or offline. Offline means that your service provider did not give you permission to access the information in real time. So you should update, you should give a mail to him, or somehow you should inform him, and then he will be able to update your information on the website. Dear students, in this session I think I completed most of the features related to the server aspects of the website. Thank you very much.